I'm Miss Zoe Reyes, 21 years old. I call myself a writer, for now. I have an older brother. His name is Mr. Axel Reyes, 30 years old. He works at a big company after graduating from college. Our parents passed away in a car accident when I was in 9th grade. I fell into depression from the shock and became a hermit. As a result, I couldn't go to high school. Afterward, I went to a doctor and recovered, thanks to my brother's help. When our parents died, my brother had just started working after graduating from college. He faced a tough situation right away, but took care of me, even helping with the housework. I decided to start doing what I could, little by little, like cleaning my room, the house, and then laundry and cooking, regaining my daily life with my brother's help. Now, we live together in the house our parents left behind. We split housework, but since I mainly work from home, I'm in charge of preparing meals and shopping. Going out for groceries is a nice change of pace. I also find cooking enjoyable, coming up with menus and following recipes. So, I'm good at cooking. When I was a hermit, my brother bought me a laptop. "Take a look at the unknown world with this," he said, and I explored various worlds on the internet. I started wanting to visit places I found in photos and videos on video sharing sites and forums, and my brother took me there, or I went alone. Without my brother's support, I might still be a hermit. Eventually, I learned about remote work. Gradually, I began working and had more chances to go out, returning to a normal life. After our parents passed away, my brother became like a parent to me. He's both kind and strict, a person with a good balance. He studied hard, which is why he was able to get a job at a big company after attending a national university. 7 years have passed since he joined the company, and now he is a team leader. There was a change in my brother. He had always been shy around women, but as his friends got married one after another, he finally started dating someone he met through a friend's introduction. 2 years later, she proposed, and they decided to get married. One day, he invited me to meet someone over dinner. It was a Japanese-style restaurant. My brother shyly introduced the woman who would become my sister-in-law. Her name is Miss Nora Reyes. She graduated from the same university as my brother and is 2 years younger. She works as an office lady at a major food company. Her wavy, semi-long hair makes her look older than her age. "Nice to meet you. I'm Zoe, the sister. Please take care of my brother." "Likewise. I'm Miss Nora Reyes. You're such a cute sister. I always wanted a sister, so I'm really happy you'll become one," she said with a smile. She wore slightly heavy makeup, but she seemed like a lovely woman. Then, she asked about me. "Since Axel went to a good university, I assume you graduated from a decent one too, Zoe?" My brother answered for me. "Well, actually, Zoe didn't go to college. When our parents died in an accident, she was in 9th grade. She struggled with her mental health. It took her some time to recover. Of course, she can live a normal life now." "What? She was sick in 9th grade? So she couldn't attend high school either?" Nora seemed very surprised and pressed further. I added to my brother's explanations, since it was about me. "Yes, that's right. I caused trouble for my brother because of my illness. But thanks to him, I was able to recover. No amount of gratitude is enough for what he did." "I see. I understand now. Nora, my brother may look a bit older because of his struggles, but he has a great personality. Please look beyond appearances." "What are you talking about?" I tried to lighten the mood with a joke since the conversation became serious, but Nora didn't laugh. At the time, I thought Nora was moved by what my brother had done for me. From what I heard, Nora's parents both graduated from prestigious universities, and their entire family had attended college. Naturally, they had excellent grades and worked at well-known companies, with many in professional roles like doctors and lawyers. They were an impressive family. Nora's father was an executive at a major publishing company, and her mother was the president of a local women's association. Hearing that, I thought my brother was going to join a great family. Busy with work, my brother steadily prepared for the wedding. Seeing him happy made me happy too, and I helped out with various tasks. One day, I received a call on my smartphone. I was a little nervous about answering a call from an unknown person, but the number was displayed, so I answered. "Who is this?" "Zoe, I'm Nora's mother. Nice to meet you." To my surprise, the caller was Nora's mother, who would become my mother-in-law. "What can I do for you?" Feeling anxious, I asked, and she replied, "I heard from Nora the other day that you didn't attend high school and only graduated from middle school." I didn't know what she wanted to say, but I answered honestly. Yes, when my parents died in an accident, I suffered from mental health issues, and it took me a long time to fully recover. That's why I couldn't go to high school." "I sympathize with your situation, but the fact remains that you only have a middle school education, right?" "Yes." "I see. I have a favor to ask. Could you please not attend Axel and Nora's wedding ceremony? Actually, don't attend." "What do you mean?" I was taken aback by the sudden, outrageous request. "Axel and Nora both graduated from top universities, and my husband and I also graduated from college. Of course, all our relatives have college degrees." "Yes? What about it?" "You're not very smart, are you? No wonder you only finished middle school." With a sigh, my mother-in-law continued the conversation. "You see, as I mentioned earlier, our family is made up of elites. Graduating from college is a given, and we hold prestigious jobs like executives at big corporations, doctors, lawyers. These are the kind of impressive people attending the wedding." I began to understand what she was getting at. "So, we don't want you, a middle school graduate, at such an event. Actually, we'd rather you not come." "But I'm the sister of the groom and his only family. I can't just not attend." "Please don't come anyway. How could we introduce you, a middle school graduate, to our relatives without feeling embarrassed? Do you understand? Anyway, I've told you our wishes." How rude. After hanging up, I trembled with anger. The parents on the other side disliked me because of my middle school education, as they were too concerned with appearances and reputation. At least, I never thought of my life as embarrassing, and I believed that I didn't deserve to be looked down upon by others. But what if my presence made my brother unhappy? If I stepped back, my brother could have a happy marriage and a future beyond that. I've caused him a lot of trouble, so I want him to be happy, no matter what. I can't be the one to ruin that. But I also couldn't stand being dismissed. My thoughts were all jumbled up. I talked to my brother about the situation. He said, "Don't worry. You're my sister, my only family. Feel free to attend my wedding. I'll protect you, no matter what." "But if I cause trouble for you, I don't mind not attending." "There's no way you'll cause trouble. Zoe, you're my one and only sister. If I can't protect my sister, what kind of brother would I be?" "Thank you, brother." Encouraged by his words, I decided to attend the wedding. And on the day of the wedding, at the family introduction, when my uncle introduced me as our family representative, my sister-in-law's parents looked at me with disdain. My brother seemed to notice their attitude. At the reception, the seats for the bride and groom's families were at the back, facing the main table. I wondered if there might not be a seat prepared for me, but there was. As I sat down, I felt piercing stares. Sure enough, my mother-in-law was looking at me. She marched over to me and said, "Why are you here? I told you not to come because you'd be a disgrace to our family, didn't I?" "I am his real sister. There's no reason for me not to attend," I strongly replied, and she snapped back. "For a middle school graduate, you sure are insolent. Just remember this." Leaving those harsh words behind, my mother-in-law walked away. Soon, the bride and groom entered the room. Seeing my brother in a different atmosphere than usual, I couldn't help but smile. Nora was beautifully dressed and sparkling. As soon as the mediator finished speaking, my mother-in-law suddenly stood up and talked to the MC. Then, she grabbed the microphone and started speaking loudly. "Our family has all graduated from college and hold respectable jobs. I believe that Axel is a suitable person for our family. But there is one issue." She took a breath and continued. "It is his middle school graduate sister. She is an incredibly embarrassing presence in our family. We would like to ask the groom to sever ties with her. If he can't, we cannot allow this marriage." There was a commotion in the room, but my mother-in-law ignored it and turned to my brother. "Axel, can you swear to do that here? Swear to cut ties with this embarrassing middle school graduate sister and become a part of our excellent family." As if it were obvious, both the bride and father-in-law nodded. Then, with a triumphant look, she handed the microphone to my brother. Taking the microphone, my brother took a deep breath and answered, "Indeed, my sister is a middle school graduate, but she is my only blood relative, my family, since our parents have passed away. I can't sever ties with her. I apologize to all of you who have attended today, but I will cancel the marriage and consider this relationship with this family as non-existent. This is my answer." With that, my brother slammed the microphone down on the table and came straight to me. With a refreshed smile, he spoke to me. "Zoe, I'm sorry for causing trouble. There's no need for us to be here. Let's go home." Later, I heard from the relatives who attended that the reception was canceled because the groom left halfway through. The bride burst in tears, and her parents were scolded by the relatives and had to apologize on their hands and knees. They were also forced to return the gift money. Later, my uncle contacted my brother. He said that although his attitude at the reception wasn't praiseworthy, he would have severed ties with him if it had continued. He also offered to pay a suitable amount of consolation money and have the bride's side bear all the expenses for the ceremony, but my brother refused. He conveyed that he wanted a sincere apology for his sister rather than a monetary solution. After a while, a meeting was arranged at our home for post-settlement discussions. I made up my mind to show my former in-laws a thing or two. At the meeting, my ex-sister-in-law and her parents, a total of 3 people, came. They handed my brother some money as a gift, an inconvenience fee, and apologized for the rudeness at the reception. But it didn't feel like a sincere apology. There was a sense of reluctance. As for my ex-mother-in-law, she said things like, "We should have investigated more thoroughly. If we had, this wouldn't have happened," showing no sign of remorse. My ex-father-in-law also continued, "Axel should have told us about his sister in detail from the beginning. Then we wouldn't have ended up unhappy." Anger welled up inside me, and I carried out my prepared plan. "Ex-father-in-law, well, you're not really my stepfather anymore, but for convenience, I'll call you that. You work at Rainbow Publishing, right?" He glanced at me and said, "Yeah, I do."
I'm a director there. What about it?
He looked down on me. I work with Rainbow Publishing, but I can't bring myself to like a company where you are. I want to terminate the contract.
Is that all? I don't care. There are plenty of workers. It won't have any impact.
Understood. I'll quit immediately. And I'll sign a contract with your rival company.
Go ahead. Do as you please.
With my ex-father-in-law's arrogance and my peripheral vision, I called the editor at Rainbow Publishing and informed them about the contract termination. There was a commotion on the other end of the phone, but I only conveyed what I wanted to say and hung up. Then, I called the rival company and told them I wanted to proceed with the contract. Even after my call, my ex-father-in-law remained smug. My brother, unable to grasp the situation, looked around nervously. Eventually, a call came to my ex-father-in-law's smartphone.
Hello? It's me. Yeah. What? The president? What's going on?
Then, he suddenly whispered, and his face turned pale. After finishing the call, my ex-father-in-law turned to me and said,
Are you the popular author? Yes, Ray?
Well, yeah. Yes, Ray is my pen name for light novels. So what?
So, you mean our president said a popular author is breaking the contract with us, and it's my fault?
I just asked you if it was okay to terminate the contract. And you said it didn't matter. That's all there is to it. I said it calmly. You're an elite, right? Isn't it embarrassing for you to deal with a middle school dropout like me?
I'm sorry. I apologize. But can you reconsider terminating the contract?
Seeing my father-in-law's sudden change in attitude, my ex-sister-in-law asked curiously, "Why would you be so humble to a mere middle school dropout girl?"
Idiot! You're our publishing house's top author. If you leave, the damage to our company would be enormous. The president told me to take responsibility. At this rate, I'll be demoted.
What? Really?
Yeah. If that happens, it'll be too embarrassing to associate with our relatives. Please, do something.
My ex-sister-in-law and her parents were confused and turning against each other.
Please, can you reconsider?
It's impossible. The matter is settled, so please leave. My brother also sided with me.
Then, please leave as requested.
My brother and I smiled as we saw the three of them leave our house, shoulders slumped. After the three left, my brother said,
"You're a popular author? I didn't know that either."
Well, I used a pen name. When I posted a work I wrote last year online, it got good reviews. Rainbow Publishing offered me a contract. I've been making quite a bit of money, I explained proudly. My brother's smile brightened. It had been a long time since I'd seen him smile like that. And so, the broken engagement was resolved. My ex-sister-in-law seemed to be looking for another partner. But no one would approach her since the incident became widely known. She became reclusive and eventually quit her job. My ex-father-in-law, being blamed for my contract termination, was demoted to a regular employee. Unable to endure warehouse work, he resigned. My ex-mother-in-law was harshly criticized by her relatives for her disgraceful behavior at the wedding reception and was no longer recognized by her once proud and accomplished family. It serves them right. My new publisher supported me, and my popular work was turned into a comic. Its popularity rose again, and now there's a talk of an anime adaptation. My brother is burying the memory of the wedding as a dark history and working hard. I'm eagerly waiting for a wonderful person to impair my brother's life. At last, our days have returned to being peaceful. I'm still racking my brain over creating light novels, but I feel that the repetition of these days is happiness. I'm planning to go on a trip with my brother again, taking our late parents' house with us, who passed away in the accident.
You're so dumb. Can't you do this more efficiently? It's frustrating just watching you. The harassment from my sister-in-law, Michelle, escalated day by day. It even started to interfere with my work from home. But I didn't break, because there was a job I desperately wanted to complete. My name is Amanda Smith, 29 years old. Working as a contract employee for a certain company, I live modestly with my dad, taking over the household chores to relieve my busy dad. He raced through life without a break, raising a daughter on his own. Gradually, I wanted to ease his burden a bit. When I was still in elementary school, Dad placed his large hand on my head and said, "You don't have to try so hard with the housework. Use your time as you like. That makes me happier." Dad was always kind and generous, no matter how tired he was. Secretly, I wished for his happiness. I hope Dad will find great happiness someday. This small wish came true a few years ago. Dad's new wife was named Barbara. Barbara, with her daughter Michelle, moved into the house where Dad and I lived. Barbara was honest and kind-hearted, a wonderful woman. In contrast, her daughter Michelle was prideful and cunning. It didn't take long for Michelle, initially quiet and reserved, to show her true colors. That day, as usual, I prepared lunch for Dad and sent him off to work. Barbara was away on a business trip since yesterday. Michelle, a college student, should have had lectures today. I decided to prepare her lunch before she woke up. Even with 4 in the family, I still managed all the household chores. Working from home, I had some flexibility, and I didn't mind cleaning or cooking. It was a nice break from work, refreshing my mind. Barbara, now my stepmother, said, "I feel bad having you do everything." But I assured her I enjoyed it. By the time I set breakfast for Michelle and me on the table, I heard her coming down the stairs. Groggy Michelle entered the living room, and I greeted her. "Good morning. Breakfast is ready. Your lunch is on the table, too. Feel free to take it." Michelle paused and said, "I'm not going to college today." "Huh? But your calendar said you had lectures." "They were rescheduled later. I updated the calendar. Didn't you see it?" Sorry, haven't checked yet." In our house, where lifestyles greatly differ, we decided to write down schedules on a shared calendar. I'm still not used to this new habit and sometimes forget to check. Michelle sighed heavily and muttered, "You're really clumsy," before returning to her room. I didn't take her words too seriously, assuming she was just cranky from waking up. 2 weeks passed since then. After days of relentless rain, it finally cleared up on a sunny Saturday morning. Feeling refreshed, I was hanging laundry when I sensed Michelle, who had slept in, getting up. But something was noisy. She rushed from the bathroom to the upstairs, then hurried back down, looking around the living room. "Hey, where's my skirt?" Michelle's demanding tone was suddenly directed at me. "Skirt? If you mean the one in the laundry basket yesterday, I'm about to hang it." "No, the one I asked you to wash separately 2 days ago. I told you at dinner, remember?" "Oh, that one. It had a small tear, so I decided to mend it before washing separately. I finished mending it last night, and it's in the washer now." "What? Didn't you listen to me? I said I needed it washed early because I'm wearing it today. Are you even listening?" I was at a loss for words. Indeed, she had asked to wash that long skirt separately, but I wasn't informed she needed it today. I recalled our conversation from 2 nights ago. "I want to wear it next Saturday, so please wash it by then." "Next as in next week?" Yeah. Don't make me repeat myself." Michelle ended the conversation abruptly, playing with her phone. That's when the misunderstanding occurred. And it was Michelle who hadn't listened properly. Though I had no reason to be blamed, I didn't want to argue and said, "Sorry, I misunderstood the date." But Michelle, standing before me, glared with a disdainful look. "Think an apology solves everything? This is why I hate dumb people. Having a high school graduate sister is just unbearable. Can't even manage household stuff properly." Michelle attends an elite university known nationwide. Our worlds are different. Yet I had hoped we'd get along, now that we're family. Just to be clear, I never thought of you as family from the start. Michelle said mockingly, with a disturbing smile. Seeing that expression, I felt an eerie chill. From that day, Michelle's disdain towards me became more apparent in her actions. When I worked from home, loud music blared from Michelle's room. Not just disrupting my work, but loud enough to be a nuisance to the neighbors. "Could you lower the volume a bit?" "The neighbors might complain," I asked timidly, but she retorted, "What? Don't boss me around. I'm annoyed by the typing sounds from your room." She slammed the door in my face. On another day, Michelle brought friends home and said loudly, "Isn't it embarrassing having a high school graduate sister who can't even get a decent job? I wish she'd move out soon." One of her friends, leaving, jokingly said to my door, "Sorry for disturbing. Michelle feels sorry for you, so please move out soon, okay?" Her friends laughed as they passed my room. These harassments always happened when our parents were away. In front of Dad and Barbara, Michelle played the role of a good sister, eerily amicable towards me. Before long, Michelle graduated from university and secured a job at a major corporation. Within a year, she got engaged to her company's superior. By then, I had moved out to live alone, freeing myself from daily harassments and gradually regaining a peaceful life. One day, an invitation to Michelle's wedding arrived. The ceremony was to be held overseas. Sighing, I placed the invitation on a nearby table. About 3 months later, I boarded a plane from Los Angeles International Airport to France. Since moving out, I had become distant from my family. I was worried about Dad, but Barbara was with him. Without me in that house, Michelle wouldn't cause trouble. To preserve Dad's happiness, I wanted to avoid family conflicts. It was better to keep my distance from Michelle and minimize visits to my family home. To Dad and Barbara, I said I moved out to focus on my career. Despite the suddenness, they respected my decision, telling me, "Don't worry about home. Just do what you think is right." "Yes, you should pursue what you want. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance," they said with a smile. It's true, Michelle's actions affected my work, but that wasn't the only reason I left. I felt it was time to confront my own life and take a new step. On the night before Michelle's wedding, in my hotel room, checking the dress and belongings for the next day, my phone rang. Michelle's name appeared on the screen. A bad feeling washed over me. Hesitantly, I answered the phone. It was Michelle's voice after several months. "Hey, long time no see. Where are you right now?" In a hotel in Paris." There was a brief pause in the conversation. Then, laughter erupted from the other end. "Really went, huh? Are you stupid? How crazy can you be?" "What do you mean?" "That overseas wedding was a lie. Fooled you as expected. I'll send the real invitation later, okay? By the way, if you don't show up, I'll ruin something very dear to you." The call ended there. I sat weakly on the bed. Michelle had played a cruel trick on me, and she might be planning another scheme. Additionally, Michelle said, moreover, she threatened to ruin what's most important to me if I didn't attend. Such an act could harm not just me, but Dad and Barbara as well. Michelle could easily do something like that. The peace I had regained seemed to crumble in my mind. As long as Michelle and I are family, This situation will continue. I have no choice but to meekly follow Michelle's actions. Always. Then my thoughts abruptly stopped. Why did I leave home? Wasn't it to fully pursue what I wanted? I haven't achieved anything yet. Instead of feeling weak, I should work to change the situation. Even someone like me can find a way to stand up to Michelle. I rose from the bed and reached for the curtains by the window. Outside the glass, the Parisian night unfolded. Life is strange. Sometimes when wandering in the dark, the path forward is illuminated and becomes clear. This was one of those moments. I closed the curtains, turned off the light, and slid into bed. The earlier anxiety had vanished, replaced by a soothing drowsiness. I closed my eyes slowly. Eventually, I spent about a week in France, taking the opportunity to enjoy sightseeing before returning home. Recharged, I returned to the U.S. and threw myself into work. Forgetting to eat and sleep, I spent days glued to my computer. My mind ran at full speed, devouring documents and typing furiously. After 2 months of this lifestyle, I visited a specific place. Walking down the main street in front of the station, I entered one of the buildings. Exiting the elevator on the 3rd floor, I knocked on the first door down the hall. A soft female voice invited me in from inside. In my tote bag was a thick file at home. Inside was a large amount of copy paper that I had printed out at home. I intended to hand these to someone. As I touched the doorknob, a wave of nervousness made my fingers tremble. It's okay. I've done everything I could. Now it was up to fate. I calmed myself down and quietly stepped into the room. On the day of Michelle's wedding, I had called the venue to inform them of my absence. Michelle probably thought I underestimated her, that high school graduate fool. Prideful Michelle, always needing to feel superior. But now I understood. Michelle lacked something vital. Something I possessed, but she did not. A knock on the dressing room door, and a man peeked in.
Excuse me, it's almost time. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'll be right out. I picked up a Western book from beside me and left the room. At the same time, Michelle's wedding reception was underway. Stephen, her husband, was the son of a corporate president. Among the guests were some notable figures, and Michelle was inwardly proud. While everyone enjoyed the grand food and friends' performances, a man discreetly approached Stephen. After whispering something, Stephen said to Michelle,
Amanda isn't coming today. She appeared on TV. Did you know?
Michelle was taken aback, clueless. Looking towards the guests, she noticed some commotion among Stephen's invitees.
It was also streamed online. Seems to be quite a topic.
A colleague from Michelle's company nearby was heard speaking on her phone.
I've read this book too, just released last month and already going for a reprint. It's a foreign sci-fi novel. The author passed away long ago, but it turns out it's written by a globally renowned scientist. Someone started saying online.
Another colleague at the same table mentioned, That's the one that's been trending on social media recently, right? It's got futuristic, predictive scenes, and a friend told me it's interesting. A translator named Amanda Smith. She was on a show today at noon. Amanda Smith? Isn't that Michelle's sister-in-law's name? Hearing this, Michelle immediately opened her mobile phone. A search on her timeline brought up my name. The top article read, Historic scientist posthumous work discovered. Interview with translator Amanda Smith on her encounter with the book. The wedding venue was already buzzing with this news. Amid the commotion, the ceremony soon concluded. After changing in the dressing room, Michelle stepped into the hallway to see her parents and Stephen. Along with Stephen's parents, in a tense atmosphere.
Such an embarrassment, being the subject of harassment. We were clueless, and now we don't even know how to respond to inquiries from acquaintances.
said Daniel, Stephen's father and the head of a major corporation, in a stern tone.
I've dined with Michelle numerous times, but she never once mentioned her sister-in-law, Amanda. Are they on bad terms? I value family bonds, you know. I was lenient because Stephen seemed smitten, but I hear some women at the company don't think highly of Michelle. Do you think I know nothing?
Finally, Daniel added,
You better make this right. Call Amanda immediately. Arrange for me to meet her directly. If you can't reach Amanda, consider this marriage null and void.
Undoing a marriage was easy for someone like Daniel. If the marriage were called off after such a grand ceremony, it would severely tarnish Michelle's reputation. She'd be too embarrassed to face her colleagues, and her friends would surely ridicule her. Michelle, pale-faced, frantically pulled out her mobile phone. First call, second call, only the hollow ring. Fifth call, the number you're trying to reach is not answering. An automated voice responded.
Maybe she's blocked you,
her father suggested.
No way. Amanda must just be busy,
Michelle defended.
Skipping a day on the wedding itself is not normal unless there's an accident or illness, especially for family. I don't want to invite more trouble into my home. A woman like you, prone to problems, is clearly not suitable for our family,
Daniel concluded.
But the ceremony is already over. Stephen, don't just stand there, say something.
Michelle looked at Stephen with her characteristic pleading eyes, but Stephen turned away, refusing to look at her. At that moment, Michelle realized something. Her parents, standing behind her, were silent, just observing. They could have defended their daughter, but hadn't said a word.
Mom, it's not my fault, right? Tell them it's not my fault.
Barbara smiled ruefully and said,
Actually, I got a call from Amanda yesterday. She said she couldn't make it to the wedding for some reasons. It's a long story, but you'll understand soon. It might be inconvenient for both of you, but she asked for forgiveness just this once. It's a big moment in her life. That's what Amanda said. What do you mean? You knew about today? You knew and didn't tell me? Yes, exactly. If I had told you, you would have interfered, right? After all the trouble you've caused Amanda, you never learn. Really, you're impossible. I've failed as a mother.
Michelle listened with a defiant expression.
We thought if you experienced some hardship, you'd understand. So Dad and I discussed it, and as bad as we felt for Amanda, we decided to turn a blind eye.
It seems this is a family matter. We as outsiders should leave. Someone interjected.
Wait, please, we're not done here. I'll bring Amanda, I promise. Please reconsider, Daniel.
I don't want to be addressed by my name by you. Do you want to anger me further?
Even Michelle fell silent under Daniel's stern gaze. This time she had picked the wrong battle. She watched dazed as Stephen and his parents walked away. Michelle, tasting her biggest defeat, finally realized her emptiness. After successfully appearing on the TV show, I was dining with an acquaintance. A French dinner at a luxurious hotel. Across from me sat Pamela, a dignified, calm elderly lady.
I chose this place to celebrate. I wonder if a more casual setting would have been better.
No, I'm really grateful. It's my first time dining somewhere like this, so I'm a bit nervous.
I like your honesty. Just be yourself. I don't like formalities either. Enjoy the meal to the fullest.
Pamela's titles included French literature researcher, translator, and translation school lecturer. She was also my mentor. I once found an old Western book among Mom's belongings. Dad said its origin was unknown. It appeared to be a novel written in French. There were notes throughout indicating Mom had read it repeatedly. I remembered how Mom hummed foreign songs while cooking or doing laundry. It happened before I could remember, so I don't remember it clearly. Could those lyrics have been in French? I started reading the book bit by bit, translating with a dictionary, and got absorbed in its world. I became enchanted with the French language. I devoured French books and translated my favorites. I was so engrossed that I lost track of time. After becoming a working adult, I started attending translation school during nights and weekends. One of my teachers, impressed by my language skills, introduced me to translation work. I was delighted to take it on, especially since it could be done from home. Around the same time, Dad decided to remarry. Even with the increased family size, my work wasn't affected, except for the issues with Michelle. I was surprised when you handed me a thick manuscript. Your translation skills were professional level, and the novel had a unique world view. I had been translating for years, but I was never quite satisfied with my work. It took a long time, but completing it helped me grow mentally. Yes, translation is a battle with oneself. Each completed work feels like shedding a skin. It's fascinating. I agree. That's why I can't stop. Pamela smiled warmly upon hearing my words. It's a blessing to have something you want to pursue passionately in life. When I returned home after a long time, Barbara greeted me. Dad was still busy with work, coming home late as usual. I heard footsteps coming down from upstairs. Ah, finally awake. Michelle, you have a part-time job today. After the wedding cancellation and leaving her job, Michelle seemed to have been staying home. Barbara had told her, "How long will you sulk? Do you want to live miserably like this forever? If you don't want to start over, you better leave this house." Worried about being kicked out, Michelle reluctantly started looking for part-time work and settled on a grocery store clerk position. As Michelle passed by the living room, she glanced at me awkwardly and hurried out the door. Amanda, you're going overseas for work, right? You said something about a potential contract with a new author? Yes, it looks like it's going to be finalized, but they want to meet in person. That's great. I'm relieved to hear your translation work is going well. Take care, and I'm looking forward to the souvenirs. Barbara's innocent smile made me smile too. Continuing to do what I love is enough for me. I thought it was that simple. My ability to become a translator was because I maintained a pure heart. It's a gift from Mom in heaven. A talent to enjoy life to the fullest. On my way back from my parents' house, I passed by a dogwood tree. Stopping to look, I saw many buds waiting to bloom. Surely, I'm just getting started too. Blooming one flower at a time, I'll continue on my path. As the gentle spring breeze blew, I started walking again.